So, what does one do a day after you achieve a goal that is so big, or that at the beginning of the journey you thought was so big that it would take years and years to get there, and then all of a sudden it's here? Um, Welcome. This is Sheila, the PA doll lady, and this is exactly what happened last night. A friend and I had created a goal for our businesses after reading Dr. Benjamin's book on scaling our businesses. And we're not talking millions of dollars. We're, little potatoes here, but it's a huge goal for her and it's a huge goal for myself. And she was doing it on a part-time and I am doing it on a full-time basis. So I run my business. I am a full-time doll reseller. Sometimes I rehab them, but mostly I specialize in finding and buying collections, and trying to be the person who connects the person that is leaving their collection with the person who still wants and is searching for those dolls now. So I started 4 years ago, and when I started this business, it was on a part-time basis. I entered into the world without believing or without even knowing that being a full-time reseller was a thing. It wasn't for me. It was during that time where we all had to be home that I started dabbling, and one thing led to another. I started on Poshmark, dabbling here and there, and then I found my group, my super support group, that is the the reason for my extreme growth in the amount of years that I've been doing it. So prior to this, I was working for the state for 14 years and 23 pay periods, or somewhere about there. I didn't quite make it to the 15-year mark, and I'm very grateful that I did not. I have the I am lucky that I worked there long enough that I have a little bit of chump change left in there for a pension. So, and I did leave on good terms. I think I might have given like a whole month of notice when I left because I was so nervous to let go. I had to work through. I did the full-time job and I did reselling at the same time. And it was when I joined the Reseller Greatness group that I started to see folks that were doing this on a full-time basis. They were very profitable. They were growing really fast. And I just was one of those people that was kind of like sitting back and just trying to figure out, is this for real or what's happening? However, my coach has proven for many, many years that it is real, and that you can, as long as the discipline is there for you to, as long as you do the job, the results will come. And he breaks it down into very elementary steps, which for me, as somebody that I never ran a business. I worked for the government for most of my adult life. So, you know, I worked and I got a paycheck and I had my free weekends and my free benefits and all that good stuff that you get when you're an employee and you don't have to worry about where's my paycheck coming from. So I did that for the majority of my adult life, and it wasn't until about 4 years ago that I mustered up the courage with a lot of assistance to test out the waters and just kind of, go into it with an approach of, let's see what happens. I did not go into it with like, yep, I know what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to do. I believe that I could do this on a full-time basis. Absolutely not. Like, I just went into it with okay, let's see how my sales could go. Let me see if I could even get enough sales. My first goal was like to have one sale per day. And then next thing I know, to have 2 sales per day. And a lot of people started the journey and a lot of people started the group with us. And there's a core of us that are still in the group, not because we don't know what to do, but because the community that is built in by my coach is just so valuable that I can't see myself like not having them in the background all the time. There's so many calls for every different topic that you can imagine. And there's if you go in, you may feel overwhelmed but overloaded with the amount of information. But I immediately seen, okay, I'm not too sure what they're talking about when it comes to all these numbers and what all these projections and all this stuff. So the group was different when I first joined it because there was two coaches that were primary. And then I believe it was about 2 years ago where the group split and my coach, took the realm and has like, this is the way it is and this is the way we follow, and that's what it is. So for somebody like me, that is extremely important. I need the structure because when my confidence is not there, as long as I could follow a structure, then I'm okay. I could do that. Even if I'm terrified, even if I don't believe in the process, as long as you tell me you're going to do A, B, and C, and if you do it every day, you're going to start to see the next thing come up, the next thing come up. And that's exactly what happened for me. So I made little goals. I could not understand the numbers. They would talk all this language that I had not a clue about, but he has a beginner call, and they break it down to elementary, to my style, to my okay, I think I could talk to Coach Rob and he can really explain it to me, because I'm so, when it came to all that other stuff, I was so confused that I would go in and I didn't know how to even ask the question to my coach to figure out what I was trying to figure out. I was so confused that I could not figure out what I was trying to figure out. So I, during the beginner call, I pretty much explained myself to Coach Rob. And I said, I literally feel like one of those fainting goats that, if you just throw a little bit too much information at me, I'm just going to be like, and just pass out. And he was just so generous with his time. He was so generous with his time, and he was just so patient in breaking things down to my level, a kindergartner probably could understand what he was saying. And so that was one of the things when it came to the whole numbers things, because that always had me rattled. The second thing was when I started with the business, I was not thinking that I was going to grow to where I am right now. So for that reason, I kind of took over one room, and then the inventory kind of took over another room, and then the basement, and then my garage. And I was like, oh my God, I'm out of room. I'm completely out of room, and I don't know where to go with my dolls. And that was another thing. I brought it to the beginner section, and, my coach had so many different, he always has a bunch of stuff going on at the same time, but anything that becomes a concern or anything that becomes like a question that somebody is confused, they will deep dive it with you, and it helps everybody else because then it becomes recorded, and then it becomes the lesson that they can go ahead and show other people. So for me, it was like the numbers, and then I was like, no, I'm out of room. I was not out of room. I just didn't know what I was doing. I had quite a few shelving units in my garage, and they were every which way. However I was growing, that's where I was throwing them. Essentially, I was, there was no rhyme or reason to it. So of course I was out of room. I didn't have it right. I didn't have it. So when our beginner coach broke it down to me and said, yeah, you could probably fit about 9 more shelves in there, I looked at him like he had 3 eyeballs because I was just confused. But he was right, and I still have room. I actually have room for probably 2 more shelving units. So that is one of the benefits of being in a group that has varying degrees of the journey. You could walk into this group and there's a few people that are just starting. You could walk into the group and there's people a few months ahead, a couple years ahead. I've been with my coach since the very beginning because I was like, if he says to do this, that's what I'm going to do. I've tried to align myself to tech and sports as far back as I could remember. As soon as he started with the first group, I was there, and I have stayed with him the whole entire time. And I just try to follow his advice as closely as possible. And I'm thankful that I was one of the people that walked into this group without having done the business for many years, because I didn't have that many bad habits. When I walked in, I was, just like afraid and trying to figure it out. So he said, do this. And I'm like, yep, okay. And that would work. And then I was like, oh, okay, now I have this problem. And then that problem. And then eventually, like, what seemed to me like a huge problem, it's like no big deal. And they are able to calmly just guide you into the next thing and then the next thing, and break it down to the point that it's actionable and doable on a daily basis. And coach always says, I could teach you everything, I just can't do the work for you. And I took that to heart. I'm like, oh, I could do that part. So the whole consistency, like you have to get yourself into a routine of doing it every day, of posting every day. And I know there's a lot of controversy about do it this way and do it that way. And honestly, I listened to the guy on the treadmill that has made millions of dollars doing this. I understand that there's different philosophies, but for me, that's the man that I trust. And for that reason, I will continue to do whatever he tells me to do. And if he's telling me to list every day, okay. And if you have a better way and I should be following that way, if your bank account is bigger than his and your process is, so much better, then let's see it. But I don't follow opinions. I follow results. And he is somebody that is like, has been so results oriented and is very strict and square, which is exactly what I need to thrive. I need structure. I cannot be in a wishy-washy environment. Do it this way, do it that way. Let's try this, let's try that. Now, business per se, the art of being self-employed has a lot of go with the flow situations. And I just asked them Tuesday, I think it was, coach, when am I going to feel like I'm not constantly running to catch up? And he said, I got good news for you. Never. So as long as I want to keep growing, I'm going to keep stumbling here and there and trying to figure out how to grow, because growth is not an easy, or how does he say? Growth is not a linear situation. It is a up, down, all around, and back up to the treadmill you go. So, coach, I know that you're too busy and you probably won't see this video, but thank you. Yeah. It's, and these are happy tears. I've been procrastinating all day on doing my YouTube video. And I've been really good at doing my YouTube video. Like, I'm trying to mimic his behavior as much as possible. And if I just create the systems that he teaches us to follow, then things are just rolling. Like, I am living proof the system works. But I was like, oh my God, I can't do my video in the morning because my eyes are puffy because I was crying last night because I was so happy, and I was like, I couldn't sleep really good. And I was back and forth in conversation with somebody that is very close and dear to my heart. And her and I really pushed each other to just believe that this thing was going to happen this year. And, she was like, I don't know, Sheila, this is like way out there. And I'm like, oh, we got it. Like, we could do it. And then one day she would be up, and then the next day I would be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cross this. So all I can say is for people like me, there is no taking the emotion out of this equation. I know he tells us all the time, this is not an emotional thing, it's a business. Yeah, that ain't happening. So if I'm happy, I will cry. If I'm stressed, I will cry. If I'm like recounting my journey, I will cry apparently. So it is what it is. But these are definitely happy tears because I don't know. I made a video the other day, and in that video I was discussing how happy I was when I got this job early on when I was like 20. And I thought I was like the it girl because I was making like $12 an hour, $12.50 an hour. And it wasn't the whole salary thing. It was like the ability to do something bigger with the potential to earn money to get me out of where I was. And that's the crazy thing, right? Like, I can say, like, the weird thing about life is this. Once I can't speak for other people. Once I started becoming comfortable with my income, once we got out of debt, the money that I was making with the state was fine. So it wasn't like I was, that I needed to get out and do so much better and do this and do that. But it just became a thing of, I felt my clock was ticking and I needed more. Like, I cannot stand just being there watching the clock tick for 2 minutes when I felt like I was there for 8 hours already. And I was just like, you would look up and it just wasn't moving. I could not get it to move fast enough. And I almost felt like I was begging the universe to like run my clock. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to express it other than it like feels like you're begging for the weekend and you're like so exhausted from waiting for the clock to hit your hours that then you're tired. By the time you get home, you're tired. You're like even more tired of just sitting there waiting for the clock to be like done because it was so mind numbing. So this is way better for me, even though there's good days and there's some really hard days and there's some very scary days and there's some very joyous days. And I will say that it took me about a year, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask Coach. It took me a while to figure out how to speak in public in that forum because I just wanted to make sure that I could get myself out and that I could make a living, and that once I burned my boats, I didn't have anywhere else to go. So, like, I had to make this work. And I think that is one of the biggest things. Like, it would literally take me months to try to get a job where I used to work, or maybe, I don't know. At least that's what I assume. I don't even care. I never want to check. But I read the book while I was going through. I've heard of the philosophy of when you're trying to build for you, you can stay at that full-time job. You don't have to burn that boat immediately. But when you're trying to build for you, you can use the job that you're in and slowly build out your safety fund, right? So that when you leave go of that full-time job, you still have a little bit of runway, like, almost a year of runway, so that when you go out and do your business, that you give yourself the best opportunity to make educated decisions, because you don't have the desperation of money. And that is a very privileged statement, and I understand that. But it is a statement that I make for people that are thinking about leaving their full-time jobs, even though they're comfortable, but they just feel like their souls are being drained out of them. And that was my case. So my first initial thing was like, how quickly can I build up this particular savings account so that I can potentially jump off? And then the following year, it was like, can I do, what do they call that? Can I do the whole proof of concept and do it a second year and earn what I think I might be able to earn? And I am a devoted follower. Like, I'm not playing games. Like, I take my job very serious. I take my duties as a doll rehomer now, which I niched down, but I didn't start niche down. I was selling everything. But I do take my duties very serious. I treat them as more important than I treated my full-time job, if I'm going to be honest. I just took my first year to start to really build my exit fund, and then my second year to just play around with my business as I was learning it and getting paid to learn it. And then I would take that money and also put it into my exit fund. So it was like my parachute money. And once I left go, I did not this is going to be actually April of 2026 will be my second full-time year. So I've been doing it for 4 years, but I did it 2 years part-time. And then I finally left go because I'm a nervous Nelly. And I was just like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. So I think I'm going into my second year of full-time. I have to check because things are going really fast. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me getting older. I'm not sure. But let me see. I actually, it's kind of crazy, but I'm very, I have to write things down on a notebook in order for me to kind of like let my brain just spill out, and then I can move on to the next thing. I know people do stuff digitally and all that other stuff. I do it. I do the spreadsheets that I have to do. I haven't, not like all the time, but I do comply with that. And now that I have reached my major milestone, that is one of the things that I am going to gift myself. For 2026, I'm going to gift myself a bookkeeper. I'm done. I think I've earned it, and I am going to pay for it, and I am done with the whole bookkeeping stuff. I'm done. I don't care. I don't care how easy it is. I don't care how fun it is. I will look at it this way. If you are an excellent bookkeeper, then I will pay you and support your small business to do my bookkeeping, because I'm done with that. I do not want to do that no more. So that's one thing that I'm going to be gifting myself for reaching this big milestone. The second thing that I want to gift myself is I plan on bringing on my first employee for shipping. Because during the summer times when I'm running across different states to go pick up collections, or when I am making assessments of collections in different states, because I'm traveling all over the place, I'm still on the clock to ship out my orders. So I think that's going to be my second thing. The first thing is the bookkeeping. I am so done with that. You don't even understand. So you know who you are. You're getting a call. The second thing is getting a shipper. I want to get a shipper so that I'm able to just go on trips that may take however many hours they take, and not have to freak out about running home, before the deadline, because I do most of my shipping on a daily basis, and except Saturdays. I did give myself Saturdays off because it was just getting so tough during flea market season and estate sale season to run back home after doing all that. I am a one girl show, so I do all of it at this moment, and from zero to the point where I'm at right now, it has been a solo trip, and I don't want to burn out. I want to be able to start to delegate. That is something that I'm not good at right now, because this has been a project of love for me, and as a project of love, it's my baby. Like, my doll store is my baby. Like, I take it so serious. But if I want to grow it, I'm going to need to get help. And I didn't think that I would be in that position where I would want to hire. I've always wanted it to be me, this is my business, and nobody else. Again, we're talking about a different book that is talking about the whole purpose of you having a business is so that you can afford other people the ability to make an earning. And then I felt guilty. I was like, oh. So if I am becoming successful, which for me, I am eternally grateful for what I've done so far by myself. But if the universe is allowing me to be fruitful for me and my family, then I think the next best thing is to actually do that for somebody else as well. And so for that reason, I'm hesitating, but I will consult with my coach about, my first hires that will be coming into play. My bookkeeping and my shipping being, I beat myself to the ground trying to get to where I got to yesterday, and I'm ready to get help in those two departments big time. Also, I plan on hiring my teenager to do the photos. She had applied to work outside of the house and did not get a call, so I'm going to put her on a schedule come January so that I can get some photos done, and she'll go on payroll. And also my business designation will be changing for the new year, so that's another thing. So coach is right again. More money, more problems, or more money, more puzzles to solve, right? So I am growing, but now I'm growing to a different stage and to other things that I need to try to figure out. So I am sure that maybe people think, what next? And to me, I just want to spend the next couple of days enjoying this, what I thought was very monumental when I started in 2020. Okay, I must have started like at the tail end of 2021, because I do have like stickers on my window showing like what I made quarterly, and it starts on 2022. So I'm guessing that maybe on 2021 was like me just finagling with it. And then I started, paying attention and trying to make it work. Again, I'm I don't know what they call it, a dexterity person or whatever. So I have to have different things that I use my hands for. So this is my first one. So this is my vision board, and like that was my number that I wanted to hit, and these are the things that I was looking to do. Then on the bottom I'll have like my years and what price ranges I was looking to get. That is my actual journey from the very beginning. I've kept it very, very basic, but very in your face, very in my face. So that when I sit here to do anything, or that when I sit here to and I start having self-doubt, I just look at the window and it's like, really? You're really questioning anything? Look at the window. So I do look at my window, and so even like on my window for 2023, it says Q2 was when I went full time. So that means that yes, in 2023 is when I left my full-time job, and that was April. So 2023, 24, 25, 26. Oh my God. Is it 3 years now? Yeah, because that says 2023. 24, 25. I'm going on my 3rd year full time. This is what I'm saying. Like, this thing goes by so fast. You don't, I always tell the guys, and they always laugh at me because I'm like, I feel like my hair's on fire. Like, because things are happening so fast and there's so much to learn and so many different moving parts and everything. I just right now came to the realization that I think I'm going on 3 years of full time, not 2. Mind blown. I can't believe I supported myself this long. I can't believe I supported myself this long. Like, what? Yeah. You know, if I would have looked at my sticker on the window, I would have noticed that, yeah, I'm going on year 3. I don't know. Apparently my brain skipped the whole entire year. So here we are. Anyways, so then that means my math, I don't think my math is mathing. But I told you guys, like, I'm not good with that whole stuff. So I don't know. Like, I started in 2021, I think. So 2022. So I did a full year of 2022, and I did a partial. I did a quarter, the first quarter of 2023. I worked, and then I let go. It took my counselor a long time to convince me that I would be fine, because I just knew that if I went out of business, I would be homeless. So I guess she calls that catastrophizing, and apparently I'm the queen of that. So as soon as anything goes wrong, I'm like, yep, we're going to be homeless. But we're not. I've come to realize now that we're not going to be homeless, because that's the whole point of having a safety fund. That is the whole point of having a parachute. And I was lucky enough to be guided by the best to establish those things before I jumped off. And I did. I established those. I used all the money and I put it back into the business, and not in inventory. I was like filling up my bank account. If you are ever interested in what kind of math I'm talking about, my coach has I think he has the Techonomics video on YouTube. I think it's the full video that he has on YouTube. And he breaks it down way better than I can, because I confused myself somewhere along the way. But all that to say that the man is a wizard, and he produces magic, and we are the testament to him. Because if we follow what he tells us to do, here we are, tears and all. He don't tell us to cry, but you know, that's just my little input into this equation. I also keep a calendar, and I keep my calendar, and on a daily basis I will put how many things I put into the store, how many things sold, what my figures were for the sales of the day, and that kind of situation. So I can do that on a manual basis, but spreadsheets are the vein of my existence. They make me want to cry. I hate them things. Anyways, and some people have some really beautiful spreadsheets in the group, and they have all these bells and whistles, and I'm just like, give me my highlighter and give me my calendar. I'm fine. I'll just write it on my thing. Anyways, so what does it feel like the day after reaching a ginormous goal that I thought was, I don't know where? I put it on so here's the thing. Like, I think this comes from another book, and I think this one was from Napoleon Hill, I think is the one that we read, where my 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 soul knows that we're going really high, but my brain is always stopping the traffic to check how we're going to do this. And therein lies the beauty of a support group, of having people that do not let your brain get in your way, because I think that that's what happens to many of us. If I can feel things are going the right way, but if I stop to think, then I'll be like, oh, well, how about if this happens? Well, how about if that? And then it, like, I will start, and then it stops the flow. It stops the positive energy. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to express it any better than, like, when things are going right, the energy just flows through your body without you having to question it. And I'll give you, like, there's times that I'll be like, oh my God, I haven't had a collection in a while. Things are getting a little dicey here. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to. And next thing you know, like, a phone call comes in and I'm like swimming in dolls, right? I've been financially prepared to take on collections from the very beginning, because that's one of the things that my coach taught me from the very beginning. Save the money so that when these things appear, you have it and you're ready to explode your business forward. And that's what happened this past year. We went way high. We went way high, a lot higher than I thought was possible. But and the thing that's crazy is that it just happened like a week and a half ago, because not that long ago, I was telling my other friend in the group, actually, she reached out to me and she said, it seems like you think that we should do a little competition to see if we could, finish strong and fight to the end situation. And I was like, you know what? I think so. I think I might need that, because I really felt that I was dragging and I wasn't sure that I was going to cross the finish line that I put forward. And thank you, Misha, so much. She pushed and pushed, and here we are. And also thank you to my other bestie. My Sarah is our book club host. And, I see, it's funny that when you see somebody who self-doubts, you're like, oh, come on, you could do it, you could do it. And so I kind of pushed her along, and I encouraged her to go after what she wanted. And then I felt bad that she was doing it, and I was not, like, putting my numbers out there and asking, or putting my accountability to the test like she had done. So I was like, I'm sorry, I'll do it with you. I don't want to leave you out there. I encouraged, but I also need to walk the walk if I'm going to talk the talk, right? So push and shove. And, when we are younger, there's this thing where your parents are always asking you, tell me who you're with and I'll tell you where you're going. That's true. That is true. This group has a baseline of 100K. I feel like anytime that people are asked, that's what they're shooting for. Like, the group itself did not put that baseline, but the majority of the people that walk in are always like, oh my God, this is such a huge number, like blah, blah, blah. So organically, it has kind of like, been the thing that it's 100K is the baseline. Now, well, we have already established that I'm going on year 3, not year 2. I thought I was going on year 2, but my baseline before having my own business was hopefully retiring in another 15 years. And I probably, if I come to think of it, I think that in order to make 100 plus, those might be positions that you get voted into, or like ED type positions. And you're responsible for so many people, or so many different things, or there's so much crap that you have to deal with. And for me to think I crossed this ginormous bridge yesterday by myself, with the help of my group, with the help of my mom, because I'll tell you what, if I say flea market, she's like, see you there. My husband has also been traveling back and forth. So we're all like, my business has been center stage for my family, for my immediate family, for sure. The business has been the center stage for the last 5 years. I don't freaking know. I don't even know what year I'm in at this point. 2021, 2025, whatever. Anyway, so it has been the center stage because I wanted it that way. I wanted to take it serious. I burned the boats. I burned the 14 years and 23 pay periods of seniority. So if I was to go back there, I would be like a new bird with no seniority, no anything, bottom of the barrel, try this whole thing again. And you know what? I will not say that I would never go back there, because if I see that I just can't do what I'm doing right now successfully, I'm not going to do this with no pay. I will go back and get a job. I'm not too proud to do that. Like, a job is perfectly fine. That is an honorable thing, just like anything else. Money is money, and you earn it wherever you can. That's my opinion anyways. But as long as I can hold on to creating the business and making the business as far as I can take it, that's where I'm going. As far as I can take it. And I don't know where that is. So I started doing YouTube. I think I am 1 month into YouTube. So this has become, I didn't think I would like it, but I think I am liking it. I think it feels very mentally refreshing and relieving to just chat what your brain is talking to you about and you're not recording. So it has been very stress relieving to just chat about stuff. Not technical, not all cool. I might get there, maybe. I'm not sure. But I think that YouTube might be my next pet project. I think that I want to devote some time to it and possibly make it grow and help others expand their thinking, like my coach did to me. Not by like, I don't want to do what he does. I don't have the patience to be doing that stuff, but by just sharing my experience, like just sharing the feelings that go into this, and sharing the journey with anybody who may be thinking of doing it. Leaving your full-time job that's scary. That's a really scary thing. And a lot of adults are anchored into this. And you know what else is scary? If you ask me today, like dying without trying. Like, if I checked out tomorrow, don't cry for me. I'm happy as heck. I've been like sitting out here battling it out, and you cannot get me any happier than I am. I'm fighting for what I love. I'm learning every day. Some days I'm an expert. Some days I'm clueless, and I love all of it. All of it. So I don't regret my decision. So, you know what else is scary? Not having the ability to be surprised, because we're so stubborn. We are so stubborn, and we need to control every outcome, that you're not allowing the universe to surprise you with something that you never even knew you wanted. So here we are on YouTube, month number 1. I crossed a ginormous bridge on eBay, something that I thought was so far from now. And I'm a month into eBay. I'm a month into YouTube. And this too seems like fun. Or at least it's therapeutic. I'll say that. It feels therapeutic to just chat away and just record it because I've done that. I've done that for many years, anyways. My friend, my friend created a video, a YouTube video, The Book Shepherd, and he explains what is the difference between journaling and diaries. And I found that video very insightful, and it's funny. It turns out that I'm a chaotic journal slash diary person anyway, so just that now we're doing it on video and the rest of the world gets to see the chaos, I guess. Okay, have a good night.